G'day amazing viewers and subscribers, welcome to a brand new exciting Doctor Who topic video for today. So in this video we are basically having a face-off between the Daleks versus the Cybermen. Now, the reason I thought about this one is because both of these villains are very, very iconic. They both made their debut back in the 60s, with the Daleks making their debut in season 1 and of course the Cybermen making their debut in season 4. And of course the both of them first encounter the first Doctor, but the Cybermen end up encountering the 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, on screen. Then of course you have the 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th incarnations. So the only Doctors that haven't met on screen is of course the 3rd, but they kind of did in the 5 Doctors, so you can kind of say that they did actually encounter the 3rd Doctor. Or they haven't actually encountered the 8th Doctor, the War Doctor, the 9th Doctor, and of course the 14th, and at this current time, the 15th Doctor. So, for this face-off, I had to ask, Daleks v Cybermen, who will win for the best enemy to the Doctor? Over the years, the Doctor has battled against these two foes over and over again, but who will you vote for? And this was actually a bit of a shock, with the Daleks having 75%, and the Cybermen only having 25%. Ooh, the Daleks have really beaten this one. Now, I am doing another face-off for next week, and of course, that face-off is, you're going to find that out a bit later on when I do the reveal for it, after I kind of film this video. So, Daleks v Cybermen. So, for me, I'm going to have to go with the Daleks. The Daleks are honestly my second favourite villain to the Doctor, after, of course, my favourite Doctor Who monster, the Sea Devils. I love the Sea Devils. Not many people love them, but I'm one of those fans that absolutely love the Sea Devils. I love the whole reptilian sort of side look to them, and I just absolutely love them. But the Daleks, on the other hand, they are absolutely amazing, encountering the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th Doctors of Classic Who, and then of course the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th incarnations of the Doctor in Modern Who, and of course the War Doctor. So they haven't really met the 14th Doctor, well, unless you include Destination Skaro, but at this current point they haven't basically returned in the Gatwa era. They've only been mentioned once, but that's mainly just around about it. I absolutely love the Daleks. Now, the Daleks, to me, they are absolutely so much better in Classic Who than they are in the modern era, because in the modern era they just don't know what to do with Daleks. Now, Russell's first era kind of got the Daleks really well, because I love Bad Wolf and Part of the Ways, and I love Journey's End and Stolen Earth. But then, of course, you have episodes like Army Ghost and Doomsday, which should have been a fantastic battle between these two foes for the very first time. But they're just the parallel universe ones, not the ones from our universe that we have encountered over and over and over again, which is kind of a little bit disappointing. Yeah, okay, the Daleks do actually encounter the Cybermen, but that's really it. It's just a whole new parallel sort of version of them, not the ones from Mundas, the one that we all grow up watching back between Hartnell up to McCoy. But for me, the Daleks win this one. I do have to say the Daleks have got some better stories than the Cybermen. The Cybermen don't have that many, if you think about it in Classic Who. If you compare the Cybermen to the Daleks have more stories than the Cybermen, but the Cybermen have a few masterpieces, where Daleks have a lot of masterpieces. Now, if I was going to say what are masterpieces, now the masterpieces are Doctor Who stories where they are just phenomenal. You can't get enough of them, and the Daleks have so many stories like that. So thinking like the Dalek invasion of Earth, or the power of the Daleks, the evil of the Daleks. Then of course you've got Genesis of the Daleks, Resurrection of the Daleks, Revelation of the Daleks, and of course Remembrance of the Daleks, which are all masterpieces to me, and I do consider them to be absolutely masterpieces. Where the Cybermen don't really have many masterpieces in Classic Who, where apart from the Moon Base, Tomb of the Cybermen, the Invasion, Earthshock, Attack of the Cybermen, that's just really it for them. So that's the kind of thing. But then if you go into Modern Who, again, the Daleks have a few masterpieces, which is basically Bad Wolf and Part of the Ways, and of course the Stolen Earth and Journey's End, which is a good two-part, and I do quite enjoy that two-parter a hell of a lot, because it was the return of Davros. And then when you get to the kind of Moffat era, he doesn't really know what to do with the Daleks. He kind of turns them into kind of second characters, or he's just there like for cameos. You remember the Daleks, you got classic Daleks, and I kind of feel like that about Modern Who. He really just doesn't really connect much with them. But then when you get to Chris Chibnall, now Chris Chibnall did so much to the Daleks, and I actually quite like him, We had the Rekason's Dalek, we had the Robertson's Dalek, we had the SAS Daleks. Then, of course, you had the Dalek Death Squads with the whole Dalek machine guns added in for the Eve of the Daleks. So, yeah, they kind of did so much with the Daleks in the Chibnall era. Now, the Chibnall era did the Daleks so much better than basically the Moffat era, because Moffat didn't really get the Daleks or the Cybermen quite right, where as much people probably want to say about a load of hate about Chris Chibnall, he did the Daleks justice. He got some great Dalek stories, and of course he has some good Cybermen episode, basically a social of the Cybermen, before the whole Timeless Child kind of takes over the whole ploy with that. But Social of the Cybermen kind of built up on that being a great finale. It should have been so much better than having the Timeless Children kind of knocking out of the park, going, "Oh, people remember the Cybermen, let's make them talk about the Timeless Children." But the Cybermen were good in it. Yeah, well, they're just second fiddle to the master. You know, it's kind of like that. And then, of course, the Cybermen have mainly become more of a second fiddle to the master in the later years of the modern era. If you think about them teaming up with basically Missy, with Cybermen from the cyberspace, and then, of course, the Mondasian Cybermen with John Sims' master back, and, of course, he's converting the Mondasian people into Cybermen. They really become more like a second fiddle. So, to me, the Daleks are really, really great. Now, I love the Daleks mainly just because of classic Doctor Who. Because classic Doctor Who handles the Daleks so much better. Now, if you think about it, they appear in the first 4 seasons of Doctor Who, which is basically from season 1 to 4 with William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton. And then they have a kind of a 5-year break, which is like a five seasons we don't see them for. And then they come back in season 9 for Day of the Daleks. And then they come back the following season, for season 10. And then they come back for season 11. And then they come back for season 12. So you've got 4 seasons there. So basically that's around about 8 seasons of Daleks. And then they go off for a few more years. And then they'll come back in season 17. And then they go off again. You see a Dalek cameo in the 5 Doctors. And then, of course, they come back in season 21, season 22, back to back. And then, of course, you have a 3-year gap between the Daleks. And then they come back in 1988. And that's it. But then when you think about modern Who, you've got them in 2005, 2006, 2007 seasons, 2008 seasons. 2009 is the only year we have no Daleks, but apart from a little bit of a cameo. 2010 they come back. 2012 they come back. Apart from 2011 having a bit of a Dalek cameo. So they still have a Dalek cameo. So you do see a Dalek. And then, of course, you kind of see them in 2013 and 14. Then, of course, 2015, a cameo in 2017. And then, of course, they come back in 2019. Then, of course, you got 2021. And then, of course, you got 2022, where they come back twice in 2 different specials. And then, of course, 2023. So Daleks have made more returns than the Cybermen. Because if you think about the Cybermen, they literally are in season 4, 5, 6. Then they come back for season 12. Then they come back for season 19. Then 20. Then 22. And 25. So you have, what, 8 seasons of basically of the Cybermen being in Classic Who. And then, of course, you have them in Modern Who coming back for Series 2. Series 4, yes, I do class the specials as Series 4. Series 5. Series 6. 7. 8. A little bit of a cameo in Series 9. Then they come back in Series 10. Then they have a season off, and then they come back in series 12 and 13. So you kind of have like 10 seasons of the Cybermen compared to the Daleks, a handful. But yeah, for me, I have to be honest with you, the Daleks are the best. I prefer Classic Who Daleks, and that's the one thing I have to say about them. So let's see what some of you have said. I mean, I can't believe 75% makes the Daleks win, and I'm really happy about the Daleks winning. So let's get into it. Let's see what the the comments have said. So we have Mikey Elliott. The Daleks are my favourite monster in Doctor Who. They are amazing. They have so many good stories, but the Cybermen are a second close because I love Tomb of the Cybermen, The Invasion, the Cybermen 2-parter in Series 2. So it's a hard choice. Now, Mikey, I'm going to have to say, I do kind of agree with you. Tomb of the Cybermen is such a good Cybermen episode. Same with The Invasion. Now, The Invasion is, of course, my favourite Cybermen episode of all time. I just love The Invasion. Even though it's missing 2 episodes, but they have been recovered with animation to help it survive, which I do love. And then, of course, you do said the Cybermen 2-parter, and that's actually quite good, because I do quite enjoy Rise of Cybermen and Age of Steel. But as I said before, the Cybermen have so many bad stories in modern Who compared to like some of the masterpieces in classic Who. And I really get why you have to say they're second best. I really do. Then, of course, we have Emperor of Daleks, 1874. Now, I'm very, very surprised the Emperor Dalek has basically said the Cybermen are the best. Considering he's a Dalek and they, you know, I did even put out to him, I put, wow, the Emperor of the Daleks is voting for the Cybermen. I would have thought you would have exterminated them. You know, trying to have a bit of a laugh, and he put LOL. But I absolutely do agree with him. The Cybermen are technically one of the best, but I do prefer the Daleks over the Cybermen myself. And then, of course, we have Fid Sony T6792. I think the Cybermen would survive as they can regenerate. Yeah, and that's just basically because of the whole timeless child, which I flipping hate. I hate the fact the Time Lords the Cybermen can regenerate like Time Lords because of the Master. It really does kind of mess up a little bit of that kind of sort of thing. But that's mainly it for the comments. But wow, 67 votes it's got, and the Daleks have won by 75%. Now, I love the Daleks and I love the Cybermen, but for me, the Daleks are my second favourite villain, followed by the Cybermen as my third favourite villain. But to be honest with you, I think the Daleks have got so many better stories in Classic Who, which is why the Daleks are my favourite, because I just absolutely love, like, literally like the Dalek version of Earth. I love Power of the Daleks, the Evil of the Daleks. I absolutely love Genesis of the Daleks. I love Resurrection of the Daleks, Revelation of the Daleks, and of course Remembrance of the Daleks. Where Modern Who are kind of like a few of those stories, like as I said, Bad Wolf and Parting of the Ways, Stolen Earth and Journey to End. I do actually quite like Assignment of the Daleks a little bit, just because it's got the return of the classic Daleks, and of course Resolution and Revelation of the Daleks for Jodie Whittaker's too. And that's just mainly it for Modern Who, where for the Cybermen, my favourite stories for them, again, is literally the Moon Base, Tomb of the Cybermen, the Invasion, Earthshock, Attack of the Cybermen. Modern Who, I'm probably going to say Rise of the Cybermen, Age of Steel, and of course Social of the Cybermen, because that's when the Cybermen are at their peak, and that's when they are their best. Yeah, I have to say that, probably, yeah. So anyway, let me know in the comments if you haven't had a chance to vote, or basically say your opinion. Who wins for you for this face-off? And join me next week for a face-off between Roger Delgado's Master and, of course, Anthony Ainley. Thank you for watching, and have a cracking day, you amazing viewers and subscribers.